Hello friends, it's Wild Willie, your personal guide to outdoor adventure. I'm coming to you today. You're probably wondering why I'm dressed in a bathrobe, but I'm coming to you today from the office of the psychiatrist that runs the drug rehab center down here in southern Missouri. And well, as those of you who watched last week's video know, we crossed an electric fence and we found some mushrooms, and I ate one of those mushrooms, and apparently that mushroom was the kind that gets you high. It's a mushroom that drug people take, and so I did a little bit of investigation, and I discovered that the people who were raising them, his name was Sleepy John and her name was Moon. And they were a couple of old hippies from the 60s, and they grew these mushrooms. And so anyway, after them explaining to me what these mushrooms do and talking to Jeffrey, I've decided that I needed to check myself into a drug rehab center because now apparently I'm a drug addict. So you may not know this, but drug rehabilitation centers were invented right here in Missouri. There's a town in central Missouri called Meth, Missouri. It's actually not in central Missouri. It's over toward the Boot Heel, but it's called Meth, Missouri, and they invented drug rehab there for some reason. And anyway, so I couldn't. I made some calls and couldn't get into a drug rehab center. They all told me that I didn't need it, but I knew I did. So I went ahead and broke into to the psychiatrist's office, and I'm just waiting on her to show back up, and I'll get myself signed in. I went ahead and wore my robe and stuff, so I'd be ready for the rehab center, because you just walk around in your robe and your slippers, and that's supposed to help you get over the drug thing. So anyway, I hate to have to report this, but apparently I'm now a drug addict, and I'm going to have to go through rehab. So when I talked to one of the nurses earlier, she said that more than likely I'll be here for quite some time getting over my drug addiction. She thinks as much as an hour, so I could be here a whole hour. I've been here about 15 minutes now waiting on the doctor, and so they're gonna evaluate me and see, and if I have to stay the whole hour, I will. But hopefully when I get done with rehab, I'll be cured and be able to get on about my living, and we'll get back to our video series on survival in the wilderness. So a good survival tip that we've learned over the last few weeks is, number one, if you touch an electric fence and your beard catches on fire, make sure you stop, drop, and roll. I did that. Jeffrey rolled me around for a while and couldn't get the fire out like that, so he finally stomped it out with his boot, and then of course it burned off most of my beard, so I had to cut that off. And then the other thing is, if there's a garden, if you come across a garden and it's been planted by a guy named Sleepy John and his wife or girlfriend, whatever she was, Moon, you want to make sure you pass on the mushrooms, because they have quite a kick. And if you do find yourself in trouble and you know, being a drug addict, go ahead and check yourself into rehab and spend the hour. It's well worth the time to get over that drug habit. So until next time, this is Wild Willie. Jeffrey couldn't come. They don't allow any family. Crazy Cora couldn't come. No family is allowed here. I have to go through this all on my own. So as soon as I get done with this, I'll check back in with you folks and with my family, and we'll get back to our series on the great outdoors. So until then, get out and have your own great outdoor adventure.